Someone is shaping your thoughts right now, and you will never see them do it. You think your opinions are yours. You think you chose what you believe, what you want, even who you trust. But what if some of the most powerful forces in human psychology operate completely beneath your awareness, and the people around you, sometimes the ones closest to you, know exactly how to use them? Not with threats, not with obvious pressure, with silence, with framing, with the specific moment they choose to ask you a question. Today, we're going inside the mechanics of invisible influence. By the end of this video, you will never look at a conversation the same way again. Point 1. The anchor trap. Imagine a car salesman sits you down and says, "This model normally runs at $62,000. You wince. Then he smiles and says, "But I can get you out the door for $48,000. Suddenly, $48,000 feels like a deal, a gift almost. That's anchoring. The first number they give you isn't a price. It's a psychological stake in the ground. Everything that follows gets measured against it. And it doesn't just happen in sales. When someone opens an argument with an extreme position, even one they don't fully believe, they've already moved the middle of the conversation in their direction. You think you're compromising. You're actually standing exactly where they planned. The question to ask yourself: who placed the first number? Because that person is already winning. Point 2. Manufactured urgency. In the 1970s, psychologist Cialdini ran studies on what makes people say yes. One of his most disturbing findings was this: scarcity turns off rational thought. Only 3 left. This offer expires tonight. I've had 2 other people ask about this. The moment urgency enters the room, your brain shifts from the prefrontal cortex, the part that analyzes, to the amygdala, the part that reacts. This isn't accidental, it's engineered. The manipulator doesn't need you to think, they need you to move. Urgency is how they switch off your logic and hand you to your instincts. Here's the counter: pause. Manufactured urgency almost never survives 24 hours. Real urgency does. If the opportunity disappears the moment you ask for time to think, it was never an opportunity. It was a trap with a timer. Point 3. Social proof as a weapon. There's a phenomenon called informational social influence. It's the reason canned laughter makes TV shows feel funnier, why restaurants put most popular labels on menu items, why cult leaders always start by building a crowd. A human brain is a pattern-matching machine, and the pattern it trusts most is, what are other people doing? Manipulators know this, so they don't make demands, they whisper consensus. Everyone I've talked to thinks you're wrong. Most people in your position would have done this already. You're the only one who has a problem with it. They're not presenting evidence, they're manufacturing a majority that may not even exist or that's been carefully curated to push you in one direction. When someone invokes the word everyone, ask yourself, who is everyone? Can you meet them? Point 4. Gaslighting, the slow erosion. This one is quieter, slower, and far more dangerous. Gaslighting doesn't happen in one conversation. It happens across hundreds of small moments where someone rewrites reality and does it so gently that you begin to doubt your own memory. That's not what I said.
You're being too sensitive. You always do this. You twist everything. Over time, the target stops trusting their own perceptions. They start running their memories through the other person's filter before trusting them. There's a reason this technique has a name pulled from a 1944 film. In that movie, a husband slowly dims the gas lights in the house, then denies they're changing at all, until her wife believes she's losing her mind. The tool is consistency. The weapon is your need to believe that the people close to you are telling the truth. The defense? Write things down. Date them. Memory is malleable. Records are not. Point 5. The favor trap. Here's a psychological law you cannot escape. Reciprocity. When someone does something for you, even unsolicited, you feel obliged. It's wired into us at a species level. Social glue, survival mechanism. But it's also one of the cleanest manipulation tools in existence. The setup is simple. Do something small for the target. A coffee, a compliment, a favor they didn't ask for. Then, when the ask comes, the debt is already there. The subtler version is emotional. Someone shares something deeply personal with you, vulnerability as a crowbar, until you feel the social pressure to open yourself in return, to trust them, to give them leverage. Ask yourself, did I invite this, or was it placed in front of me? Gifts with hooks aren't gifts, they're investments. Point 6. Framing, controlling what you see. Two doctors present the same surgery to a patient. Dr. A says, this procedure has a 90% survival rate. Dr. B says, 1 in 10 patients dies on the table. Same fact, completely different emotional response. This is framing, and it's the most invisible manipulation of all, because it doesn't change information, it changes the shape of information. Politicians, advertisers, partners, bosses, anyone with something to gain from your decision will always present data in the frame most useful to them. This school has a 70% graduation rate. This school sends 30% of its students home. Restate each framed sentence in its opposite form. If the reframe changes your feeling, you're looking at influence, not information. Point 7. Love bombing. Warmth as a trap. The most seductive manipulation doesn't feel like manipulation at all. It feels like being chosen. Love bombing is the sudden, overwhelming flood of attention, affection, and validation. Texts at 2 in the morning, I've never met anyone like you. You understand me like no one else does. It creates a powerful psychological dependency fast, because you don't just receive the warmth, you calibrate to it. It becomes your baseline. And then, slowly, it's withheld. And suddenly, you're working to get back to a place you never should have been in the first place. The signal isn't the intensity, it's the speed. Genuine connection builds. It doesn't flood. Here's what all of these have in common. None of them look like control. They look like care, or consensus, or urgency, or opportunity. The manipulator's greatest advantage isn't power. It's your belief that you're thinking freely. Awareness is the only real defense. Not cynicism, not paranoia, but the quiet habit of asking, who benefits if I believe this? Who placed this here? And is this mine, or was it handed to me? Your mind is the most valuable real estate in existence. Guard the door.